Ladies and gentlemen, do you have friends or family who have abandoned you because of your support for President Trump? Do you have people who have tried to condemn you on social media and cast judgment upon you and try to proclaim that they're morally superior when all they do is stand upon a soapbox of verbal refuse? Do you know of people who are such narcissists, who have such egos, who lack even the a basic sense of civility, that they would judge you, condemn you, disparage you, try to demean you because you support a president who is presiding over an economy where poverty has decreased from 12.7% nationally under President Obama in 2016 to now 11.3%, according to USA Today. 12.7%, according to the census, 2016 poverty rate under President Obama, it's decreased to 11.3%. Household median income has increased for all Americans. There's record low unemployment for all Americans. Record highs in the stock market. 300,000 plus new manufacturing jobs created. This is a fact. 300,000 lost under President Obama. This is a fact. So they can try to spin everything they want, but what am I getting at? Gallup, Obama-Trump tie as most admired man in 2019. Washington, D.C. Trump's percentage improves, ties Barack Obama's. President Obama and President Trump are tied this year as the most admired man. It is Obama's 12th time in this top spot versus the first for Trump. Every year since 1948, Gallup has asked Americans to name in an open-ended fashion which man and woman living anywhere in the world they admire most. President Trump has a 45%. America's choice for most admired man is sharply divided. So President Trump is now tied with Barack Obama for the most admired man in the country, according to Gallup. He has a 45% approval rating. All of those people who try to condemn you, disparage you, insult you, mock you, all of those people on social media or in real life who try to say that, oh, you're a bad person, you're immoral, Trump is a bigot, Trump is racist, orange monster, bad. All of those people now have to live with the reality that, according to Gallup, Trump has tied President Obama, former President Obama, as the most admired man. So Obama-Trump tie as most admired man in 2019. That's with the Mueller probe that found nothing. That's with every single Stormy, Avenatti, Michael Cohen, Jussie Smollett, everything. You just think of if there's a comet that hits like another celestial body, it's Trump's fault. Anything's Trump's fault. Everything. Trump is horrible. Did you see what he did? Did you see what he made fun of? He said both sides were fine people. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He never did. He never, ever did. Notice how they never play the tape. He was signing a veterans health care bill that day. He had nothing to do. He had nothing to do with the horrendous, what took place that day. Nothing. But media needed to paint President Trump. He needed to paint Trump as this person he's this subliminal force where the only reason you would vote for Trump is if you were a Russian operative or racist. That's really it. These are the most enlightened liberals and progressives and people on the left. There's no reason to vote for Trump at all. Oops. Oh, what was that? Record low in unemployment. Then they say, unemployment's not like the only factor on the economy, man. Record highs in the stock market. No, that's like not even important, man. Which that's true. That record highs in the stock market is not a great indicator. But coupled with record low unemployment. And then you have poverty decreasing. Poverty decreasing from over 19% to a little over 17% among Hispanic and Latino citizens. And the unemployment rate for Latino and Hispanic men is 2.9%. That's below the national average of 3.6%, which is also a record low. And you wonder why Democrats every single day of the lives of these imbeciles, every single nanosecond, they're seething with such contempt. They despise Trump, not because he destroyed a nation in Libya, an African nation. Oh no, that was President Obama who destroyed that country. Oh yeah, that's right, with a failed NATO intervention. Oopsie. What can you do? He's such a wonderful human being, though. And that time when Trump drank Flint water, knowing it was poisonous, to deceive the people of Flint in a supremacist, nationalist, enabling... Oh, that was President Obama. That's right. Oh, that's right. Oh, he was the one who drank Flint water in a shameful publicity stunt. Oh, that's right. Okay. So, or that time in Standing Rock where, Trump did nothing and allowed people to be brutalized and Native Americans to be brutal. Oh, that was Obama. Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah. Or that time when, people, when President Obama really took care of people who blew the whistle. Oh, yeah. President Obama was really, really good to Chelsea Manning, Edward Snowden, Jeffrey Sterling, John Kiriakou, Assange. Oh, he was really good with protecting the identity. Oh, not. And they say, well, look at Trump's foreign policy now. It's like, non-intervention. You're not going to change American foreign policy. You're not going to change it, absolutely without any military conduct. But the non-interventionist, he wants to bring home Americans from regions of conflict. He wants to bring home Americans. He's withdrawn Americans from the most dangerous parts of regions of where they shouldn't even be. 20 years we've had never-ending military interventions and conflicts. 20 years. And Democrats say, well, we have to keep them there longer because if they leave, there'll be chaos. Well, that's exactly why you need to. You can't keep them there forever because there will never be a time where leaving will just be, easy. You have a president who goes up against corrupt intelligence officials. These are the same, Democrats are the same people who will get in bed with John Brennan and James Clapper and Comey and at the same time pontificate about Medicare for all. Don't work that way. You can't get in bed with corrupt intelligence officials and then claim to be morally superior because you want something that the Democratic Party will never allow ever. Democrats deceive their voters. Their voters are willingly deceived because the worst thing in the lives for people is not to accept that perhaps Medicare for all is not feasible. The worst thing in their lives would be to be called H.A. Goodman or to be called a Trump supporter or to be called, immoral or a bad person. Who are these people claiming that they have the authority or the license or the ability to cast judgment and condemn and declare that another person is immoral because of a political viewpoint? They can't win on the merits because President Trump's economy is great. In terms of militarism, he's less of a militarist than President Obama. Yeah, of course we would want Trump to be more, even less, like no military interventions, no strikes. I get that. Well, no military interventions. We don't have we're not toppling governments the way Cheney and Rumsfeld and Bush did and President Obama did. That's not what we're doing with Trump. So if you don't topple governments, if you want a foreign policy where you don't increase our involvement, Trump, you pick Trump. Now, is he perfect in terms of foreign policy? No, absolutely not. Is he way better, infinitely better than President Obama and Bush? Yes. Is the economy better than President Obama and Bush? Yes. Where's the bubble? There is no bubble in this economy. There's record low unemployment, record highs in the stock market, poverty's decreasing, and he's going and he has trade deals that have restructured trade deals. He's going after he's addressing the $400 billion trade deficit with China. The future is a Chinese future. The future of the world's economy will eventually lean toward China will be the number one economy in the world and the number one superpower in the world in 30 years. Okay, well, maybe we'll vie with them still. But the Chinese economy will be the number one economy in the world. And at that point, if things remain unchecked, we have a $400 billion trade deficit now. It could be $1 trillion or $1.5 trillion. What incentive would they have to address any unfair trade practices or a trade imbalance with us then? What incentive? Zero incentive. Okay, it's taken Trump with tariffs to even get the ball rolling in terms of some kind of negotiations. Democrats wanted the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Yet another example of giving away just basic sovereignty in many respects with the TPP. So the Democratic Party has this belief that if they spend every waking hour, MSNBC, CNN, the Washington Post, the New York Times, they get social media rules and algorithms their way. They have all these roaming clicks on social media trying to condemn anyone, mainly on the left. So if you're a Trump supporter now, if you're more conservative, if you're voting for President Trump, and by the way, it goes like if you're an establishment Republican who doesn't like Trump, you're still not. You might think you're like Mitt Romney, like, oh, I'm the prom king. Don't you love me? It's like, no, it's gonna be that scene from Carrie. Okay, the same thing with the red paint, and then except he doesn't have superpowers, so Democrats don't care about Republicans that don't like Trump. They just pretend. So you have these people who are like Bush like loyalists or neoconservatives like Bill Kristol and certain imbeciles on social media. And they're like, oh, we don't like Trump. He's not a good role model. Who do you like? Oh, George W. Bush. Oh, okay. The person who utilized intelligence failures or failed miserably, impacted the lives of millions upon millions of Americans and millions upon millions of people in other countries negatively, toppled governments. We still can't leave because of Bush's original sin. But we can leave. But their mentality is, oh, if we leave, then everything will topple. That's the point. You should never have gotten in the first place. And you eventually have to end. You can't stay within counterinsurgency conflicts, forever. Or you can't. The United States military is not meant to simply be a chess piece against two other factions that want to go at it. But anyway, you have media that has devoted their lives to ruining and disparaging and demeaning and insulting and mocking President Trump, and they fail at that. They cheated Bernie Sanders. They failed at that. They failed at the election. They failed with Stormy and Michael Cohen and Avenatti and Jussie Smollett and Al Franken and Eric Schneiderman and McCabe if he got fired. And now you got Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. They were stooping each other, and now their whole business is out in the open. Everyone knows. Okay, James Baker's under criminal investigation. Andrew McCabe's under criminal investigation. Who's Kevin Kleinsmith, this guy? Oh, yeah, now he's under criminal investigation. The IG report completely vindicated Devin Nunes. Completely vindicated. They tried to silence him. It didn't work. On a microscopic scale compared to Devin Nunes and Trump, they tried to disparage me and silence me with hit pieces in 15. I remember one person in the comments section probably doesn't like me on my other channel. And he was like, nobody cares about your hit pieces on you. It's like, well, that might be true, but still, it's not fun. It's not a nice feeling initially when you get other journalists, quote unquote, yeah, right, trying to denigrate and mock you, or silence you, or insult you, or spread bogus nonsense about you, just because at that point you were the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet. So I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. And I hit a nerve because I was saying, yeah, Bernie not only can win, he will win. In a fair primary, he would win. That was very threatening. They didn't want to hear that. Now you have people saying the same thing and they're praised. I'm like 2 years ahead of all of these people all the time. Clinton's going to be nominee. I stated, look at the NPR article. Below, they quote me and Nate Silver. Guess who was right? NPR quoted me. This is the second in 2015. I accurately predicted 2016, the election. This will be the second election I predict accurately. The point is, though, when you're first to do something or say something, or when you're the loudest to say something and you're right and people don't want to hear it, it's a big problem. Now people just, regurgitate the same thing. You think Bernie can win? No, they're not going to allow Bernie to win. They're going to cheat Bernie Sanders. This is the same political party that has devoted its life to silencing and cheating Bernie Sanders, propping him up, and then they're going to cheat him again. And then doing the same thing, but worse, to President Trump, or trying to do worse with the Mueller probe and the Ukraine nonsense. They're going to impeach him. It's a rolling impeachment. They want to impeach him forever now, and they're going to impeach it every day.
Nancy, why don't you just go ahead? This is Mitch McConnell. Yes. Do us a favor. Instead of sending the articles of impeachment to the Senate, how about this? You sign an oath saying you will never send the articles of impeachment, but you will impeach him 3 times a day, every day, for the next century. How's that?
All they want to do is impeach Trump. Then they say, he's the 3rd president in history to be impeached. Oh, my God. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. They have done away, the grandeur and, being part of history used to be special. The Democrats have made certain that even something that should have been historic is a joke. People laugh at this. Independent swing state voters, they're like, what? And Democrats will then blame another country. Like, we need to work on election interference. Oh, really? Why? So, people don't read emails that you wrote that incriminate you directly because you wrote them in your slimy little hands, with your slimy little fingers and hands. Well, Sondland overheard Bill Taylor, and then he overheard Fiona Hill, and then they overheard Maria Ivanovich, and then they were overheard because the guy on CNN overheard this over the phone, and people overheard this, and we're going to go ahead and impeach Trump because they overheard everything, and it was common knowledge. Do you have any evidence? Can you raise your hand if there was a crime committed? They don't have anything. The DNC and campaign emails show the truth about them because it was written by their insidious, slimy paws and claws. The emails, the DNC and the campaign emails did them in because they did themselves in. Because they wrote all their nasty little schemes and tricks and deception. And now, everything with Trump, it's, there's a dossier that says a lot of crazy things. Did Trump write it himself? Because Clinton wrote a lot of things, and so did everybody who worked around her, and Cheryl Mills, and, no, he didn't write it. Actually, it was purchased by Clinton. So then why would you use it? This is not like the DNC emails. What are you talking about? Stormy said something, and the Ukraine, he withheld military assistance. Well, Zelensky said he wasn't pressured at all. Well, he's lying, he's afraid of Trump. Poroshenko, before Zelensky stated there was no pressure at all. Well, the past 2 presidents of Ukraine, they're actually doing Trump's bidding. Yeah, that's the ticket. And still, the the reigning champion. Obama-Trump tie is most admired man in 2019. Why is this so important? It's not that important, because Trump was up there the past couple of years anyway. The fact that he is now tied with President Obama, when media went overboard trying to sweep under the rug any of President Obama's misconduct, and Trump they've devoted their lives to, and he still defeats them. Trump defeated Comey, Clapper, Brennan, Strzok, McCabe, all of them. Defeated the Clinton machine. He'll defeat the Clinton machine again. She'll be nominee in 2020. Okay, it ain't going to be Biden. And people say, like, oh, there has to be somebody by Clinton. No, there isn't. Just enjoy the charade and enjoy losing again. We're witnessing something that's unique, I think, in world history, definitely in American history. There's never been a person who's had political rivals that encompassed virtually all of media, virtually all of the person's intelligence community, and parts of, you could say, the military or intelligence community, media, Hollywood, the popular culture, and he still wins. I mean, he's literally taking on the world in many cases with Trudeau and Macron, and he's still winning. And he's still now the most admired man along with President Obama, but he's tied for the most admired man in 2019. But it's like this is a victory that you can't even quantify or define. It's unbelievable. Give me your thoughts below. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel right this second. Very, very important segment on President Trump's executive order combating anti-Semitism. Very important segment on H.A. Goodman's other channel. That's below in the pinned comment. Thank you.